And so I'd like to talk about the future. That's something I've actually done for almost 40 years. Uh, and I'd like to actually give you an idea why my predictions generally seem to be accurate. If you go to how my predictions are faring, if you put in how my predictions are faring on the web, it will bring up a 150-page document that goes through uh, the predictions I've made at different times over the last 20 years. So, for example, I made 147 predictions for 2009 in the late 1990s, and 86% of them were correct. And they were recorded in the age of spiritual machines. And I can explain why that is. Um, by the 2030s, the deflation for products that are not electronic, like food and housing and so on, is going to come down because of these same factors that are influencing everything else. Even without any further increases, we'll be able to live quite well on the same money we spend now. So it's not really increasing the amount of social safety net to do this. So it's going to become less important in terms of being able to maintain a comfortable way of life to do this. Ultimately, it'll actually be very easy if you go out to, say, 2040.
Data collection, but it's a bit scary what's going on in China with the tapping into the social networks and tracking and the AI and face recognition and so on, giving people almost a rating that then has consequence in their life. Is that sense of the all-pervasive AI future, where do you see the negatives for that? And is there an area where the negatives outweigh the positives?
Yeah, I mean, I've been accused of being an optimist, and I am somewhat optimistic, but I've written about the downsides of these technologies, and you could use these technologies to enforce a totalitarian system or an authoritarian system. And we do see that. I mean, I showed democracy is up to 50%. It's not up to 99%. We do have to fight that. And I think that things like socialization and other types of activities, politics that affect our daily lives is still very important. It's not just up to the technology. And we could use technology to enforce an authoritarian system, and we do see that in the world. And so we have to keep working on that.
How's that health card looking?
Well, I think we'll be less dependent on animals. We already have various types of meat that don't require meat, but that taste like meat. And we're moving, I think, away from reliance on animals for food. And so I think we'll be able to appreciate the kind of positive quality that we can do with animals. And we're going to be going away from fossil fuels. That's not so far away. I mean, I believe that's 10 years away. We'll be able to use forms of energy that don't require fossil fuels. That'll make the world better for everybody. So I think we'll be able to have a more natural relationship with animals where we're not really dependent on them for food.
We're becoming vegetarians, folks, as has been predicted a few times in this conference.
Well, that was really what I talked about. It may seem startling to connect something into our brain to talk to the web, but it's really just a continuation of what we've been doing. We have devices. I mean, they might as well be part of our body because we never leave home without them. And they are part of our body. We stand to the web and connect to all of the world's knowledge. And we're being able to interact with that in a more and more fluid fashion. So we'll do it directly from our brains. It's really not so such a difficult thing to do. And that will then enable us to continue to expand. I mean, the web is growing, doubling every year. That's multiplying by 1,000 in 10 years. So imagine what we're doing today and multiply by 1,000 for 2030 and another 1,000 for 2040. And imagine what that will mean for our experiences and our ability to do everything that we can do with each other. That's what the future is relying. It's not going to just settle in at some point. It's going to keep expanding indefinitely.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And guys, you know I come back with that second video just to make you think. Now basically we have Ray Kurzweil. You know I've made tons of videos on Ray Kurzweil, but basically he speaks about his predictions and how accurate they have been. So is it because he's smart or he's working with the New World Order? And guys, we know he's working with the New World Order because we know they fund all his projects. But he talked about something very, very interesting in this video that I've been saying all along. Hyperdeflation. He doesn't give you the reason why hyperdeflation, but like I stated, with all this technology, it takes humanity out the picture, so therefore they don't have to worry about paying you. So everything will be cheaper. With housing, we're going to go back to $5,000, $10,000 housing. I know it sounds crazy, guys, but it's going to happen. If you don't have jobs and the government is doing universal basic income while you have that 5G in your hand burning you up, they have no choice. You have to go through a period of hyperdeflation if nobody has jobs. There's only going to be a few people that's going to have access. I'm talking about with good paying jobs. Right now, we barely have good paying jobs. So just imagine when all this technology comes in. Another thing, went over China. And basically all of that technology, the totalitarian state. So guys, we know that that's what they want to do with cryptos. We know with all this technology, tracking, cameras everywhere. We know this is about total control of your population. Like I stated, with all technology, it's a great thing because you'll cut out all crime, but then it's a negative. What is your government and these big corporations going to use that against you where they can just make you buy certain things or you only can buy this certain thing? And we're going to get into the food, so therefore I make you understand this. Now, like she stated, we're all going vegetarian, but are we really going vegetarian when we have all these GMO vegetables, guys, that will kill you, cause cancer? We know in a lot of the countries, they stopped them for having natural seeds and gave them these GMO seeds and drove them out of business, where we had a lot of farmers commit suicide. So we know the angle of the New World Order. But if I give you universal basic income and I say you only can buy your fruit from this place that sells GMO fruit and vegetables, then that's not vegetarian, guys. It's just not. So, but just like I stated, we know the avenue that the New World Order wants us to go into. So that's the reason why you have to start growing your own food, guys. You must. Because like you said, we're getting away from animals and real meat. And the fact is that basically you go to Beyond Meat, Impossible Burger. We know Bill Gates invested in Beyond Meat. We know that those are all chemicals. So you have your chemist as your chef. And lastly, he went over the cell phone. The cell phone is already a part of us. Is that true? Yes, majority of people cannot live without their cell phone. I leave my cell phone at home on purpose all the time because I know it is an attachment to most people. It's like their right and left arm. So, like he stated, it's going to be easy for them to transition from the phone into the brain, guys, especially with these millennials, these Generation Z kids that are not getting the proper education. And that's the reason why I always say, guys, educate your friends and family, because we're all held accountable. But hopefully you enjoyed the video. You have a wonderful day.